In the heart of Kenya's Maasai Mara, where the acacia trees stretch like spindly fingers across the golden savanna, and the sun paints the earth in hues of copper and fire, nature dances between life and death with every passing hour. Elias Mwangi had spent most of his life navigating this delicate balance. A former ranger turned wildlife photographer, Elias had retreated to the bush to find peace after his wife's passing. He lived alone in a modest wooden cabin near the Mara River, where he spent his days documenting the wildlife, lion prides lounging in the heat, zebras sipping cautiously from the water, and the rare moments when a predator met its prey. His heart still beat for the wild, even if it was heavy with grief. But one morning, the rhythm of the wild was interrupted. It was just after dawn, the sun not yet high enough to dry the dew that kissed the grass. Elias had hiked down to the edge of the Mara River, camera in hand, when something caught his eye near a tangle of reeds downstream. Movement violent, desperate. He raised his lens and squinted. At first, he thought it was a gazelle trapped in the mud, but then he saw the markings. Spots. Long, lean legs flailing in the water. A cheetah. Elias's heart stopped. Cheetahs rarely ventured this close to the river. They were creatures of the open plains, wary of crocodiles and deep waters. This one, young, barely full-grown, was clearly in distress. Its legs were kicking, but its head kept dipping below the surface. It was drowning. Without a second thought, Elias dropped his camera and ran. The bank was steep and slippery. His boots sank into the mud as he scrambled toward the water. Hold on, he whispered, as if the cheetah could hear. Every instinct told him to be cautious, to remember that even the weakest wild animal can lash out in fear. But another part of him, the deeper human part, wouldn't let him stand by and watch it die. The cheetah's head disappeared again beneath the current. No. Elias waded into the water. The current was stronger than it looked. It tugged at his legs, threatening to pull him under. He could barely see the cheetah now. Only a flailing paw and the occasional flick of a tail. Reeds whipped against his face. His hands reached forward, fumbling, grasping. Then contact. Fur slick with water. The cheetah struggled against him at first, claws grazing his arm, but Elias didn't let go. He wrapped one arm around the animal's midsection and used the other to paddle backward toward shore. It felt like forever. Finally, they stumbled onto the bank. Elias collapsed, panting, soaked to the bone. The cheetah lay beside him, unmoving. Come on, Elias said, crawling over. Don't you dare give up. He pressed his ear to its side. Faint heartbeat. Still breathing, shallow but alive. Elias ran to his cabin and returned with blankets, a first aid kit, and warm water. He didn't know if the cheetah would survive, but he had to try. He cleaned a deep cut on its hind leg, likely caused by underwater rocks. Then he gently wrapped in the blankets and placed a heating pad near its stomach. The cheetah shivered. Time passed slowly. Hours, maybe. At some point, Elias dozed off with his back against the wall, the cheetah still lying beside the fire. When he woke, it was late afternoon, and the cheetah was staring at him, not growling, not hissing, just watching. Their eyes locked. Elias could see the fear, the confusion, but also something else. A flicker of recognition. You're awake? Elias said softly. He didn't move. He let the silence do the talking. Eventually, the cheetah laid its head back down and drifted off to sleep. The next few days were unlike anything Elias had ever experienced. He kept his distance, gave the cheetah space, but stayed nearby. He fed it mincemeat and goat's milk using long-handled tongs. It barely ate at first, but gradually began to recover. The wound healed. The shivering stopped. Its golden eyes, once dull with exhaustion, gleamed again with life. He named it Saba, Swahili 4-7, because he counted 7 near-death moments in the river before the rescue. But as Saba grew stronger, so did Elias's dilemma. He couldn't keep a wild cheetah forever. It wasn't ethical and it wasn't safe for either of them. Saba needed to return to the wild. One morning, Elias made the decision. He opened the gate that led from his backyard enclosure to the open plains. Saba, now walking with ease, padded up to it and paused. Elias stood silently. Saba looked back. For a moment, they just stared at each other. The cheetah took a tentative step forward, then another. Then it turned and vanished into the tall grass. Elias exhaled, both heartbroken and proud. Weeks passed. The morrow returned to its normal rhythm, and Elias to photography. But something inside him had shifted. The loneliness had dulled. The ache of grief, though not gone, had softened. Then came the moment that would change everything. It was early morning again, and Elias was photographing a herd of wildebeest by the river. Suddenly, the herd scattered. He raised his lens. A cheetah sprinted into view. Fast, beautiful, powerful. It tackled a young wildebeest, held it for a moment, and then let it go. That's odd, Elias thought. Why wouldn't it finish the kill? Then he saw why. Trailing behind her, clumsy and curious, was a cub. His breath caught in his throat. Could it be? The cheetah turned. Even from a distance, Elias recognized the eyes. Intelligent, watchful, gentle. Saba. She hadn't just survived. She'd returned stronger, and she was now a mother. Elias lowered his camera, overwhelmed. In that moment, under the same sky where life had almost ended for her, she had returned to show him it had begun again. And as Saba disappeared into the golden plains with her cub, Elias knew he had been part of something greater than a rescue. He had witnessed a resurrection.